Today is a very important video that I'm going to be talking about. If you are a Canadian reseller and you do sell items to the US and ship to the US, this is a much watched video for you. There is something happening coming up very quickly on August 28th that is going to dramatically change the way we sell to the United States. We are going to be talking about what's going to happen when the US removes the de minimis exemption. That means that any package, no matter what its value, will be subject to customs and duty fees. And of course, if you do resell to the US and ship, this is really, really important. There's a lot to go through. We're going to talk about how we now can ship to the United States because it is going to change. I'm going to talk about country of origin of all of our items. And I'm also going to go over our HTS codes. These are codes that we have to now implement into customs forms. They are called harmonized tariff codes, and I will go through all of that with you in detail. And I also created a PDF guide for you. It's a free downloadable guide that you can find in the description box below. It goes over the bullet points that I have mentioned today in the video, and it also gives you a complete full chart of every HTS code that you will need for shipping clothing and shoes. We have a lot to talk about, so let's dive into it. First, let's talk about just what the de minimis exemption removal is all about. And of course, I have all my notes here, so forgive me for looking down quite often, but I will do my best to explain this clearly to you. Like I said, I do have that PDF guide that you can download and print out so that you'll have it, so you can go back and just reference about this video. So we're going to talk about before August 29th of 2025, all small packages under a certain value, which I'm not even sure what the value was, would enter the US without having to pay any customs and duty fees. Now, come August 29th, this is going to change. Every shipment, no matter the size and the value, is going to be subject to duties and custom fees. And these fees are actually going to fall onto your buyer, so that when your buyer picks up a package, they are going to have to pay those duty fees before they can receive the package. If they don't pay the duty fees, it will get returned back to us. And I think that's going to cause a huge problem. And it also might cause fees for us on our end. So this is definitely something we do not want happening. This is definitely something that we need to be transparent with our US buyers as well. Moving on, our Canada Post is also being affected by this. And they have already announced that their delivery duty unpaid services, like tracked postage to the United States, will not be compliant after August 25th, 2025. What this means is that normally we would go to the Canada Post and we would drop off our package. And then as soon as the Canada Post would cross over into the United States, it would become a USPS, which is United States Postal Service. Canada Post will not do that anymore for you. That means that we cannot ship via Canada Post to the United States. If you do this, you're at a super high risk that shipment will be returned. So we need to look for alternative ways to get our packages over to the United States. So let's talk about that. The good news is that we have all kinds of different carriers that can help us out with this. So it's going to be places that are called commercial carriers that can handle custom and duties, which are UPS, FedEx, DHL, and Purolator. And another good thing is that eBay does have UPS and FedEx in their shipping. If you use UPS and FedEx with eBay, your labels will actually be cheaper in the long run. And honestly, right now, with all of this going up in the air, I think it might be the easiest way to do it because they already have implemented those carriers, and it's much, much easier to send packages through eBay my opinion. So again, UPS, FedEx, DHL, and Purolator are the ones that we can use to get packages across to the United States without having any interruption in customs. Here's what you need to know about duties and custom fees. So the buyer is going to be ultimately responsible for those duties and those fees. And what's going to happen is that, let's say they buy a t-shirt from you on eBay for $10. And then once that t-shirt gets shipped to them, they're going to have to pay a custom or duty fee. And I'm not talking like pennies. It's going to be dollars. So that $10 t-shirt might end up turning into a $20 t-shirt, which is probably going to discourage quite a bit of our US customers. It's going to be an issue. I'm sure it will be. And so if the customer doesn't take the shipment, it will be sent back to us. But there's a lot more other things that have to go into this in order for it to actually get delivered. We need to have an accurate item description. We have to make sure that the origin of the item is correct and identified on the customs label. And then we also have to put in HTS codes. That is something I'm going to get into in just a minute. So I feel like if you don't have any of these on here, you're either going to get the shipment returned to you or there are going to be huge delays at the border, and that's going to equal really bad business. We need our US customers. We need it because we can't use Poshmark US anymore. And we need this. I mean, as a part-time reseller that wants to get full-time, I think it's going to be difficult, you know, that if I can't ship to the US. So this is something that is super, super important to keep our US customers happy. Let's talk about HTS codes. Please don't let these codes overwhelm you, because I actually put together a free PDF download for you. At the bottom of the description, it has a complete chart of all of the items, along with all of the HTS codes that you're going to need when you are selling clothing and shoes. Yes, clothing and shoes. If you need any more of the HTS codes, if you're selling things like jewelry or maybe makeup or home goods, you're going to have to go ahead and look the HTS codes up yourself. But with this, I've already created a chart for you, so there's no need to go ahead and do all your research and things like that. So let's go over the HTS codes just quickly, and then I'll show you what the chart's going to look like in the PDF that I made up for you. So here's just a few examples, and now just be aware that HTS codes are different for men's and women's items. And also be aware that a t-shirt is not just a t-shirt. You will have a t-shirt that's made out of synthetic material that will be in a different code. And if it's made out of cotton, you will have a different code. My understanding would be the biggest percentage of the fabric content, that is the one that you choose. So let's say it has like 65% cotton and then the rest was acrylic. You would put that it was cotton because the fabric content, the highest, is cotton. So for just example here, you'll see like the women's cotton t-shirts, the number here is 6109.10. And if you go down and you see a men's synthetic t-shirt, let's say it's just made out of acrylic, it's 6109.90. And then also men's jeans and women's jeans are also different too. And then you'll see that in women's dresses, if they're cotton, they will have a code 6204.42. But not to worry, I had the PDF file for you, so it'll be so much easier. Now let's talk about the country of origin. This is super important, and I've already been doing this already. So because I don't send products made in China over to the States. So along with the item description, the HTS code, you're going to need to put in the country of origin. This is the place where the actual garment has made. And where you will find this is on the label on the item, either the actual size label or the like the fabric tag. You'll find that there. If you cannot find a tag because someone ripped it out and it does not have the country of origin on it, I would suggest not sending it and selling it to the US. It would just cause problems because I have heard of people that had their packages opened and then they double checked where the country of origin was and it got sent back to them and they were fined as well. So do not ship or send anything from China, and do not ship or send anything that does not have the country of origin tag on it. It will not be worth it. It'll just be a pain in the butt and it'll cost you in the long run. That's really important for the country of origin. So I'm going to show you over here what it's going to look like when you're filling out the customs form on eBay. You'll see how all of this kind of lines up, the item description, and then it's going to show you the weight, of course, but then here's your HTS codes go here, and then your country of origin goes there. And it's really easy because it's just a drop-down menu. So perfect, straightforward. There's no really issues. I'm also going to show you what your chart's going to look like, the PDF chart. I have it here. It's 2 pages long, and this gives you an idea of exactly what it'll look like when you download that PDF. So I have the list of women's here and then the list for men's. So I hope that helps you. Okay, I think I covered like the most important things, but let's just reiterate what I talked about, what we said, and then we'll go from there. So the most important things that you just need to remember and you need to know what's going on is all shipments to the US will now go through customs regardless of the item's value. Canada Post options will no longer work for the US after August 25th. Using Canada Post after this will cause risks of your package being delayed, delivered, and returned, and probably even lost. So I wouldn't even go there. So all of us sellers need to switch to either UPS and FedEx labels when we're using eBay, or you can also choose to ship DHL or Purolator. We need to be aware that all the US buyers will be paying duties and taxes on every single item. And then we need to make sure that we provide accurate country of origin and HST codes. Super important as well. Now, I just wanted to touch on what we should be doing now in the next few days and coming and moving forward. And I know it's going to be like a super big pain in the ass if you have a really, really large eBay store. I currently only have just under 300 items on my eBay store. So for me, it's not going to be a problem. And for the fact that I've already stopped selling items in China to the United States, I think will be a lot easier for me. So my first suggestion would be to avoid US customers buying items without the country tag and then made in China items. So when you're posting the listing and it's made in China or you don't have that tag of origin, you're just not going to click on international shipping. You won't click on US shipping. It'll just be Canadian, and then you'll just move on from that. My other suggestion would be, and I've been doing this since the China items, is that I actually, in the description box, I put in the very bottom where the item is made at. It's just easier for me moving forward that when that thing does sell, I know exactly where it's made from, because obviously there's all kinds of other countries that you deal with. Is Vietnam and India is really popular as well. Obviously, Canada and the US, we have to put that in there too if that's where it's made. So I do suggest, just to make life easier, and then you don't have to go back and look at your inventory that's already stored, put the made in tag at the very bottom. It'll be really helpful in the long run. I would also suggest maybe in your US descriptions too, of maybe offering or at least stating about bundling items. I feel like the US customers will be more apt to buying bundles or larger priced items and pay the customs than they would to buying something cheaper, like a $10 or $15 shirt. So I would really try to encourage US buyers to do and make bundles. And then I'm also going to put on every US listing, I'm also going to put a disclaimer saying that US buyers are subject to duties and fees. I think that's really important. Now, they might not read it, but it's saving your butt. So if they get all angry at you, you know, oh, it's in the description box, and maybe don't put it at the bottom, maybe put it somewhere in the beginning, just to make sure that you are being super transparent and they're not expecting, or they're not having unexpected charges when their package arrives. So those are my main things. So yeah, let's wrap this up. Don't forget, print out that PDF file. It's a free download at the bottom of the description. It gives you a guide on all the things that I talked about. And then it also gives you a 2-page chart of all the HTS codes that you're going to need for clothing and shoes. Please feel free to share that PDF file. The more Canadian resellers know about this, I think the better in the long run it'll be. Being upfront with our US customers, I'm really hoping we can still be able to sell to them if we all kind of do this together and they're not complaining about unexpected charges or unexpected delays. I think that is really important. If you have any more information on any of this, please share down below. The more information we have, the better our chances will be to continue to sell to the US. And if I missed anything, please tell me what I've missed. Tell me what we need to add. And then moving forward, I'll be sure to update you all, and I'll probably just do some like YouTube shorts, or you can follow me on Instagram. I'm sure there's going to be things that pop up in the next few days moving forward with this. I mean, who knows? It could just go away come August 30th and we've done all of this work for nothing. But it's better to be prepared than not. So yeah, I really hope this information was helpful for you guys. I hope I'm not getting this out to you too late. But yeah, some really important things that definitely need to be discussed. So thanks for hanging out with me. Until next time, happy reselling.